starting off in a standing position, we're just going to start with connecting to our feet. And if you're comfortable, we're going to close the eyes and thinking about putting pressure or weight more through the ball of the big toe, the ball of the fifth toe, and your heel. And with doing that, it's almost like you're pressing down into the ground and rebounding up to grow taller. And from that point, checking in with your pelvis and just seeing if your pelvis feels forward or behind your feet, and trying to find your pelvis somewhere over your feet. And then with your eyes open, you're going to weight transfer onto your right, float your left foot up and hold here and start to go out and in with the leg that is up. And as you continue to move this leg out and in, still connecting to that tripod of your supporting leg and foot. And as much as you can, keeping this leg active, so trying to also find a little side glute connection, so growing even taller through that stance leg as you move the leg that's floated in front of you back and forth, and then coming back down. We're going to switch sides, so finding the weight into the ball of the big toe, ball of the fifth, and that outer heel area. You're going to weight shift over to that foot, connect to your core, try to press into the ground, rebounding up, finding some side glute connection, and float the other foot up. Before starting to move the leg, check in if you can find any more engagement through the side glute and any more rebound through the foot. And then you're going to start to move that leg out and in. And as you move the leg out and in, you're not trying to rotate or bring the leg out so far that your pelvis has to turn. So everything stays squared through your sort of torso and through your spine and your pelvis, and you're just moving at the hip socket. And we'll do 2 more. And last one. And coming back down. And then just cueing into the feet a little bit more, trying to lift all the toes up into extension and then lowering them down. And we're just going to do that maybe 10 times. And then after you've done this 10 times, you're going to let the toes rest down and just lift the big toes up. And then lower the big toes, lift the outer 4 up. So you're just rotating back and forth. And ideally, as you do this, you're not changing the position or the placement of the rest of the foot. So sometimes we put weight onto the ball of the big toe to lift the outer 4 toes. The foot wants to really turn in, so trying to keep the foot still as the toes are the only part doing the movement. And then letting that go and relaxing there. Okay. We're going to do a little bend in the knees. Your hands can be on top of your femurs, and you're just going to start creating a nice big circular movement, trying to bend at the ankle joints as much as you can as the knees track forward, and letting the feet move and roll as they want to. And we'll go the other way. Bending forward, hinging at that front ankle joint as we spiral around. And then letting that go. So from here, we're going to let our head be heavy. We're going to roll down through the spine nice and slowly. So you're going to think head first, upper back starts to roll, mid back, low back. And once you hit the end range here, if you're feeling a lot of hamstring tension and you just want to be able to fold your spine more, bend at your knees, let your right hands come closer to the ground. Head is heavy. Press through the feet, connect to your glutes, find your core as you roll up very slowly. Head is the last to stack. We're going to do that one more time. Head goes nice and heavy, chin to sternum. Upper back starts to roll, ribs pull back in space. Arms are nice and floaty. Head is so heavy, you're not using it at all. Bending your knees to allow a bit more range if that is desired. And then rolling back up from there and opening up at the top. Okay, bringing our attention a little bit more to our pelvis. We're going to find our feet in a wider position and slightly turned in if that's comfortable for your hips and for your feet. And from here, we're gonna find a couple pelvic tucks. So you're just gonna tuck the pelvis under. As you do that, your core engages, and then you're gonna let the pelvis go out. So simply, you're just thinking about a scoop in, sacrum drops, core engages, and then letting that go the other way. So you're just finding this nice tilting motion. And seeing as you do this, often we want to bend our knees to help us a lot with this movement. Can you keep your knees relatively fixed as you just move your pelvis? And as you lengthen through the low back. And then you're going to keep the tuck under here. We're going to bring the attention up to the ribs and just start to do a couple slides. And as you do the slides, you keep equal weight between the feet. So it's not like we're sliding and doing a lift. I'm staying nice and grounded, nice and stacked, as I just try to encourage this really nice translation. And it's also thinking about like we're moving on a straight line. We're not trying to teapot over where it's like this, right? So we'll do a couple more like that, side to side. And then you're gonna extend the arms out. We're gonna slide with the arms, just going right to left, making it a little bit bigger, as if someone's gently guiding your arm to bring you a tiny bit further. And then one more each way, and letting that go. You're gonna find your feet underneath your pelvis, your hand on top of your head. Your other arm is gonna be turned out into external rotation, palms open. And you're gonna slide your ribs. So I have my left hand on my head, my right hand at my side. I'm gonna slide my ribs to my left. Try to imagine like I'm in between two planes of glass, so I'm not gonna be curving forward. And then I'm just gonna do a nice side bend over, opening up the ribs here. Taking a really big inhale into the side body and an exhale. And then slowly restacking. I switch my hands. So now I have my right hand on my head, left hand side of body, and I am going to slide my ribs to my right, side bend over, breathing into the right side of my rib cage, breathing in, and exhale out. Slowly coming back up. One more time each side, left hand on head, right hand side of body, ribs go to the left, side bend over, breathing in, and exhale out. Coming up slow, last one, right hand on head, left hand by your side, breathing in. Slide to the right, and side bend over. I'm gonna take one more breath here. And coming back up. And then with the hands, we're gonna bring them out to your sides one more time, and we're gonna close them making a fist. So I'm gonna flex at my wrist, bringing my palms to myself. And then I'm gonna extend all the way, opening the fingers. So close the fingers, flex, open, extend. And just find a couple nice movements like that. Close, extend, and then shaking it out. And we're gonna imagine like you're turning a light bulb. So we're just gonna do a couple shoulder internal, external rotations. So I'm gonna turn out and in. And you can think about guiding that movement from the hands, but it's going all the way up to the shoulders. We're gonna come all the way up overhead, and then keep rotating as you come back down to your side body. One more time, rotating through. And then coming back down. And relaxing there. Okay, so now we're gonna come into a kneeling position, and you're gonna I'm gonna start my right knee underneath me and my left knee out to my side. We're gonna get into our hip aldoa. So you're gonna put your left hand behind your left knee here. You're gonna tuck your pelvis and try to square your spine as much as you can. We'll always wanna turn the leg that's out to the side. So really think about opening up to the stance leg a little bit more. And then connecting to the foot here on the left side, I'm gonna start pressing the back of my left knee into my left hand, feeling for a little more glute connection. And as I do this, I'm just trying to maintain a nice long spine, trying to keep my pelvis tucked, and I'm holding here into this activation that I'm creating through my thigh and hand pushing into one another. And then from there, I'm gonna put my hand in front of my kneecap, and I'm not gonna move my pelvis, but I want you to try to send energy out through the long bone of the leg. So think about like as if this is reaching away, but the pelvis stays still. And don't worry if you don't feel much happening or much movement, you really won't feel or see much happen here, but you should feel work around the glute and around the thigh. And then an option to try to combine both of those sensations of pushing back behind you as you reach the femur out long. And then I like to add my arm in front as I hold this for the last 20 seconds. Still thinking about my core connection. I definitely feel on the stance leg, my hip flexor opening. So a bit of a stretching sensation there as I push back on my working side, on my left side here. So we're gonna stay here for a couple more seconds. Finding your breath as you need. And slowly coming out of that, resetting, and we're gonna switch sides. So now we're gonna have the right leg out to the side and we're weight bearing through the left side. Our body is relatively in line here. And again, we're gonna turn our trunk to the side that's out to the side. So try to come back and be nice and straight if possible. Hand is gonna find the back of your thigh. You're gonna press the hand and thigh into one another, creating a really good connection, feeling that glute turn on actively on the right side. And then from there, see if you can tuck your pelvis a little bit more, letting your sacrum drop. Option to start adding the energetic cue of reaching energy out through the kneecap into your hand. So I move my hand placement. And I'm just thinking about like really lengthening out. And if you feel like you've got that and you want to combine, trying to push the thigh back into the hand as you send energy out through the long leg, out through the femur here, go for it. Bring the hand in front. Find your breath as you need it. We're here for 20 seconds. Noticing any rotation that wants to happen and trying to make these little micro adjustments, maintaining tension through the working side as you might feel a stretch on your stance side. Technically, both sides are definitely working. And then slowly you're gonna let that pressure go and then find your knees underneath you and reset. So coming into a kneeling position again, let's start on your right side with your left leg out. Nice and long, hands are gonna be in front of you. You're gonna stick your bum to the ceiling, and this is for us to open up our inner thigh muscles, and just hinging straight back behind you. And as you hinge behind you, you're not letting that low back round, you're maintaining a little bit of an arch. And if you feel like it starts to round as you go back, know that's too far and just stick with a smaller range of motion. And if being on your hands or wrists is too intense, you can always add a box and stack your forearms on a box or some sort of elevated platform. We're gonna go for 2 more hinges. So you should be feeling this all on that inner thigh of the long leg. And 1 more. And then maintaining pressure through your right hand. You're gonna slide your left hand under and then bringing it back. And you do that 4 times, sliding under and bringing it back. And I'm really not hinging, I'm just holding the stance that I created. As I rotate, I should feel the inner thigh a little bit more, just speaking to how much everything is so connected. And then we'll switch sides. So then this leg comes out here, hands are in front of you, tailbone to the ceiling, start to hinge back behind you and coming forward. And use your foot here to really grip the ground and connect to the ground. Bum to the ceiling, maintain that arch in the low back. If you lose it, that's too far. We'll go for 2 more. Last one, we take our original shape without the hinge. We stay heavy on the left as you slide the right hand under. and then sliding back. Increasing the amount of stretch on our long leg for 2, and 1. And relaxing there. And from this position, we're going to go hands behind the head, elbows open nice and wide. You're going to let your spine round as the elbows fall in. And then take a breath in, and then exhale as you pull your elbows wide, extending up to the ceiling. Bending back in, extending out. Last 2. And if it's uncomfortable to bend and sit sort of on your feet this way, you can sit on a chair, you can do this in standing, you can also do this cross-legged. And last one, curling in as much as you're comfortable going. Elbows pull forward. And opening up and relaxing. Thank you for joining me for a quick standing mobility kind of series with some supportive hip moves on the mat.